Russ is gone. Broncos are going to eat a whole lot of money. They lost a ton of draft picks. I still don't think it's a worse trade than the Browns trade because I think Deshaun Watson, in order to like handle that fully guaranteed contract, he's going to end up with like a 16-year contract with the Browns. So that's going to go on forever and ever and ever. The Broncos just kind of have to eat it this season and next season money wise and the draft picks and stuff, but it's not. I still think the Deshaun Watson one is the worst one. Um, but Russ is gone. It sounds like he's willing to play for the league minimum because he's going to get paid regardless because he's under contract. So either his new team pays him money or his old team pays the difference. So he can play for super cheap, which means he can kind of pick whatever team he wants to go to. My thing is if I'm the Raiders, I'm like, we need to get this dude because it sounds like Kirk Cousins is going to Atlanta. Um, it the Bears are going to be drafting. You have all the other teams that are high in the draft pick are going to be getting quarterbacks. The Raiders are in a position where they could move up and pick up somebody, but for the next couple years on the Broncos dime, I don't know why you wouldn't go get Russ. Deacon Hill, what are your thoughts on Russ coming to the Raiders, or where do you think he'll end up?
Well, I don't think he's coming to the Raiders. Just from listening to our head coach and the GM, they said they're not looking for a stopgap or a band-aid at that position. They're going to really go for it, and they got their eyes set. There's a couple of good quarterbacks coming out. I see at least 4 or 5, but they really looking at the Jaden Daniels from LSU. That's who they got their sights set on. Who knows if he can get them? Like I say, they're going to have to give up some draft picks and stuff like that. I don't think they're going to give up any of their star players, but I think they will be able to, would be willing to give up first-round draft picks in this draft, next year's first round, and stuff like that to move up to get their guy. But they said that they're not looking for a Band-Aid at that position. And, our rookie, he didn't do so bad. I was comparing the stats with Russell Wilson and him this year. They're not. Russell had a great year as far as he had 26 touchdowns and something like 8 interceptions. That was a good stat right there. But other than that, all the other stuff was pretty much similar. So you could stay with your rookie and go that way. But I think they're shooting for a quarterback in this draft. I don't think they don't want a stopgap Band-Aid. And I see him more or less going to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will be a good spot for him.
Yeah, I agree. Brother James, thoughts on potentially Russell Wilson coming to the Raiders? Your thoughts on the Raiders QB situation in general, and then if not the Raiders, where do you think Russ ends up?
Okay, I've got the mute. Uh, so I don't think he's coming. I agree with Dick Hill. I don't think he's coming to the Raiders. Uh, he's a mobile quarterback, so that would be a plus. But I do believe that the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to stick with that rookie for a little bit. I think they're going to get if they can't. I don't think they're going to use a lot of picks to try to move up. If something falls into their lap, they may trade here and there. But they're aggressive. The new Raiders ownership and leadership is aggressive. So they're like, okay, well, we were going to rebuild it. It's not. I'm not saying that we're in a rebuilding year because we don't need to rebuild. We just need key positions. But I don't think they're going to give up any good picks to do that. Like that, like has been proven. Y'all's quarterback, it was simply last pick of the draft. Okay, so I think there's a quarterback out there that can be gotten without robbing your bank, spending all your load for one person.
Yeah, I
As far as Russell,
sorry.
And so far as where I think Russell Wilson will go, Dak ain't looking too good either. So he might go to Dallas.
Dak's about to get paid $60 million a year. I cannot wait for that contract to get signed.
This is a joke. Yeah.
I can't wait for that to get signed. That's gonna be that's the best $60 million. It's gonna be so good. So just Raiders guys, did you guys see enough out of your quarterback last year that you would be comfortable and think that you guys could be successful with him at quarterback this next season?
I didn't see a lot out of him while I'm just total comfort. I I did see improvement every game with him. And so with that, if he buckles down and he did some training in the all, worked on the off season, I think he can be okay to the point to where yes, we will be successful with him. You have the best receiver in the league, so why wouldn't you be?
It depends on your definition of success. Getting to the playoffs or something like that. If that's your definition, I'm talking about trying to go for it. One thing, his passing is pretty good and it kept improving. His accuracy is pretty good. But one thing you can't teach is mobility, and he does not have that. And in this league, the defense is just too fast. They come at you, and you got to be able to move. And I don't see that. So, and I think he'll be a great backup, but I don't think he'll ever be the quarterback that'll take you all the way. So, and that's what I'm always looking for.
Okay. Brother Bill, thoughts on Russell Wilson potentially being with the Raiders, going someplace else, and then the Raiders QB situation in general?
Yeah, I don't see him going with the Raiders, although I think it might not be a good it could work out because the Raiders, if they stay committed to the run, they have an offense that can do some things, especially with Adams, there as their star receiver. The team we haven't talked about is the Minnesota Vikings. And here's why. If Kirk Cousins does leave Minnesota and go to Atlanta, then being able to get Russell Wilson with all-world receiver Justin Jefferson to throw to, and their head coach Kevin O'Connell, he's a quarterback-friendly coach. I could see that working out in a division where it'll be interesting to see whether or not the Detroit Lions have the same success this year and this upcoming season as they did last season. The way I always look at it is if number one goal of any team should be not try to win the Super Bowl. Ultimately, yes, but first thing you got to do is win your division. And the NFC North division is, I believe, up for grabs. And I think it's a 3-horse race between Detroit, Green Bay, although they're young, but we saw what they can do. And hate to say Chicago Bears just aren't there yet, so I throw Minnesota in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Minnesota, especially if the price tag is right, and we'll just have to see what happens.
So do you see the race? Because everybody's talking Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh makes sense to me. Minnesota makes a ton of sense if Cousins goes to Atlanta. Do you think it's just those two, or do you think there's another team in there that you think could squeeze in?
Well, coming out of the combine, the sense was that the Steelers were willing to give Kenny Pickett another go at it this season.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess everybody says the positive thing until this person gets cut and this person's gone and that person's over here. So that makes sense. But I guess a new offensive coordinator, if you're one of those franchises like Pittsburgh where you're almost loyal to a fault, you're going to give them another chance because you have a new offensive coordinator this is going to be the one that makes the difference. This is one that's going to put them over the top.